So, welcome everyone to another episode of the Champion Chat, where we deep dive into the world of commerce, community, and collaboration. I'm Carl Garth, and as always, we are joined by our host, Alison Champion. Good afternoon, Alison. How are you today?
Oh, fantastic, Carl, as always. Thank you very much. Welcome back. It's great to be back.
Excellent. First one for the new year, 2024. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So, today we have a special episode. We're going to focus on the pulse of local businesses and trade. I think very important, and we're honoured to have with us one of the members and previous head of the Watsonia Traders Association, Hesham Mobarek. Hesham, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for taking the time to invite me. It's my pleasure to be with you guys. So it's very exciting. Happy New Year to all of you.
Excellent. So, as I said, today's topic is about the Traders Associations. We really want to find out a little bit for everyone out there, what do they do, their interaction with Banyule Council, and what are their business arms within their traders associations. And why do we want to do this? Well, local community businesses, they are an intrinsic part of the community. Not only do they employ local people, they provide products and services that we need, but they are big supporters of local community groups such as sporting and special interest clubs. And I think without local businesses, many of those community groups would struggle. So to kick things off, Hesham, I'd really like to ask you, what is a traders association and how does it help local business?
Well, you've chosen the topic that I'm pretty passionate about because I've been involved with the Watsonia Traders Association since 2006. I've been a trader in Watsonia since 1994, so I've been there a long time, part of the community. The Traders Association is basically a group of traders that get together. We form an association to help promote the shopping strip. Obviously, when you're in a shopping centre, they have a lot more management. So the Traders Association is formed to help the local traders, to help the community, to attract the community to the local strip. And we have very, very close contact, obviously, with Banyule City Council. They give us a lot of support, and they have given us a lot of support over the years.
Okay. And look, I've been past the Watsonia strip. I'm a local member there, quite a vibrant strip. But could you provide us a little bit of an overview of the Watsonia Traders Association, the locale, and some of the businesses involved in the Traders Association itself, please?
So obviously, all of the businesses up and down the strip automatically really become a member. We're there to promote and support those businesses. We've got cafes. I've got the local pharmacy there. So again, all of the pharmacies in the strip are part of it. We've got the hot bread shops, or the bakeries. The local optometrist is involved. The hardware shop. So we've got a really good local, good mix of traders in that. Very convenient, very easy shopping there, and we often we have two main community events throughout the year. We've got a family fun day, and probably our biggest promotion that's taken over from the family fun day is Watsonia at the later in the year, where we have an amazing gathering of trick-or-treating with the kids going up and down the street, and we have the haunted house. So we have lots of activations, promotions, competitions. Often we'll have activities in school holidays to help keep the kids busy with or without their mums up and down the street, with treasure hunts and Easter bunnies, and we have Santa Claus coming to visit. So it really does help make the centre more attractive and more vibrant.
Okay. And do things such as the RSL and the library also get involved with the Traders Association, or are they more people you look to partner with?
They are reasonably active, where we're having sort of an activity that sort of fits in with them. The library, love to be involved, particularly when we have big community gatherings. And so too with the RSL, they're a little bit more active, particularly in the last year or so, especially also because we've got lots happening in the street with Northeast Link and the town square build, which we've just started just before Christmas, and that's obviously having a big impact on the RSL. So we've got a lot to do with the RSL at the moment as a trade association.
Yes, I have obviously seen that build. And aside from the challenges that come with trying to run a business when there are public works going on, what are some of the other common challenges that you're seeing with local businesses at the moment?
Obviously, we've just been through a tough time with COVID. Small business, probably one of our biggest challenges is that we tend to find the majority of the businesses rely very heavily on a small group of us that are active and trying to help promote the strip. So I find small business owners, the majority of them working in their business, not on their business. So they're just bogged down in the day-to-day. And certainly going through COVID, a lot of them, obviously, they did really struggle. And then obviously we've, straight out of COVID, and we've, even during the end of COVID, we had some Northeast Link early works that occurred, the redirection of Greensborough Road. Again, that heavily impacted on, say, for example, our nighttime trade, and it really hasn't bounced back. There's still people who are struggling, and a lot of people are at home, so daytime trade for us went a little bit crazy. Being in the health industry, people are at home, they're coming throughout the day, so it sort of crunched a lot more work into the day. But I think probably as a trade association, our biggest challenge is involvement of the whole strip.
Yep.
I think people like to see a small group of us working hard, and so they'll just sit back, but they often are just bogged down in that day-to-day and really struggling to make ends meet. So we really do love to, reach out to the local community and try and encourage them to come in and support the small local strip. And it's an amazing strip, Watsonia. We've got a really good mix of businesses there to cater for, that quick, easy shopping, hairdressers, and the like. So there's a lot happening in the strip. It's a very nice strip.
It's actually, being local, I've seen that strip evolve over the last 20 odd years. I mean, used to be more hardware and some novelty stores. Now we've got, for example, there's a wine bar. We've got some more eateries there that are more involved with al fresco eating and dining. There's some tech stores, etc. I'm seeing almost a change in the type of businesses that are there. What do you think's been one of the bigger drivers of that?
I think possibly the community changing. We're seeing a lot more young families. Like when I first came in 1994, it seemed to be very much an old elderly demographic. That's changed. There's a lot of young families in the area now, and I've seen that change certainly within my business and up and down the street. And so I think that's sort of the natural evolution where we have some really nice, as you said, cafes and the wine bars coming down. And you see that in the evenings. There's just people everywhere there. It's very busy and very full. And that's actually really good because we do need to, work on that nighttime trade and people up and down the street, make it a lot nicer for people to come. So I think that's changing and will improve with time. Hence also why we partnered with both, with the Banyule Council and Victorian government, get some funding towards the town square, because this town square idea came up a long time ago when we were doing surveys up and down the street, and so that was something that the community said they really would like to see for the Watsonia strip. So it was born quite a few years ago when we first started looking at how we want to develop the strip. And so it's a very exciting project that we're undergoing at the moment.
Can you give us a bit more detail on what will the town square actually do, and what is it, and how will it actually work?
So what it's doing is simplifying that intersection, which was a very messy intersection around the roundabout, just been lifted. It's closing off, so there's not like 5 streets coming into this area. So it's simplifying that intersection. And either side of the Watsonia Road, so the library side going into the RSL car park side, is basically where the town square is going to be, with different activities and seating areas, and just a lot more sort of attractive, like a central point. It's going to make it easier for us when we are having activations within the strip. So we'll have a central place to go in, instead of really just all being on footpaths and narrow areas. So creating that, that vibrant area for the Watsonia strip.
But there'll still be through traffic availability for cars.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is simplifying that intersection, because that intersection was very, very messy, and it was getting way too busy.
Yep.
And creating havoc. And just the walking up and down the street will be far easier for the local community, rather than it, becoming a bit of a rat run for people wanting to avoid Greensborough Road and Greensborough Highway. So
yep.
Hopefully that'll simplify that a lot better.
Yeah, you made a really good point, actually, Hesham. It is a nicer place to drive through than Greensborough Road. So that traffic may move through quicker, or not even be there at all at some point. So you've got so the plans that I've seen, there is a lot more space made available for pedestrians, and people being able to gather in groups or parties, in green open spaces, or in the street, like outside cafes, etc.
And it's even going to connect, like we've got sort of they're like 2 precincts in that main part of the Watsonia strip. So people moving from the northern aspect and heading up the street towards the station, it is going to be a lot more welcoming for them to move along the strip, and also just getting across the road to the station and the library is going to be a lot better. At the moment, it's sometimes quite dangerous. At that roundabout, it's always been very messy. It's just getting worse and worse.
Yeah, you do. You have people coming around the roundabout and suddenly notice someone walking on the pedestrian crossing, hit the brakes, and that's a recipe for let's have a nose to tail event.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I would like to just follow up on something you said. You talked about the Northeast Link and the impact that you can see that's having already. Could you sort of share with me? Do you feel that traders associations are consulted enough on the impact of these state and federal projects? I mean, we've already talked that you've had 2 years of COVID. We've had the inflationary aspect, and that's been hurting local businesses. They're trying and working with local governments more than ever to try and make those strips good for people to want to come to support the businesses. Do you feel you're getting heard on this at the same level with state and federal projects?
Look, we've been meeting with Northeast Link and state government for years. Hundreds of hours of meetings over the last 4 or 5 years. So I can't remember how many years we've actually been meeting. The word consultation is there, but I don't believe. I think it seems to be a moving train, and that they're not really hearing what's actually being said. So it's not necessarily that we want to veto anything, but often it's hard to say, where they'll meet, and then they'll just surprise us with something, and it just happens. Whereas I feel as though the consultation should be a bit more of a 2-way consultation, and explaining to us, well, these are the options, and we couldn't do this option or that option because of this. So they just go ahead and do things. And perfect example of that. And I'm really surprised that the Watsonia community as a whole hasn't been up in arms with all of a sudden they extended the tunnel, and the tunnel portal is at Watsonia Road, and so they've had to realign Greensborough Road. It's a temporary realignment, but it seems like they've split the project up into 3 sections, and it hasn't. Watsonia, I think, is getting the raw end of that deal, and we should have been. The Watsonia community should have been a lot more up in arms about what they're actually getting. They're not getting a really fair deal, because from Watsonia Road up to Western Ring Road, I think is a terrible part of the project. There's a lot hidden, like even at the moment they presented the UDLP for that from Watsonia Road to the Western Ring Road. Yet there's this huge section which they left as a purple blob where the station is, and it's an unknown what's happening there. And there's a great opportunity there to make some changes there. But I'll be honest with you, I think very little consultation. Too much is hidden, too much is secretive. You can't get straight answers. And it's not only straight answers, sometimes you're given an answer that is not 100% true, and you find that out a year later or 6 months later. So I think the consultation has been average. Lots of meetings, but really, it's a lot of wasted time. There's been certainly a few times where you think, okay, maybe we've been heard, but we're struggling with the consultation overall.
Well, you've talked about, though, you have a very good collaboration, a very good relationship with the Banyule Council, the Trade Association. Just wondering if you could maybe share a success story or an example of that collaboration, or something you've worked at together, what the planning was, how long it took, and what the end outcome was.
Well, I guess probably the biggest collaboration we had has been the town square. So there was a really good year of consultation with that, with regular meetings. I wasn't part of that, but the planning side of it. But a couple of the members of the Trade Association met regularly with our marketing coordinator, and certainly they definitely heard what was being said, and so the outcome is we've got, I think, on plans a great project. But the good thing is also, now that we've started the project, we're regularly meeting on the street. There's really good communication backwards and forwards as far as the impacts, and the impacts are, you've said it's a little bit, yes, it's been a little bit messy, but the fact of the matter is we're putting up with that short-term pain for what we think will be the long-term gain for the local community. But it has been years of consultation, so we do have that close connection with Banyule. So that's not obviously the only project, but there's also been lots of little projects with our activations, with our promotions and so forth. So it's been going on for years, and it's a good program overall.
Okay. Alison, would you be able to provide a bit of an insight from the council side of the works and how they engage with traders associations?
Yeah. Coming back to Hesham's comment about consulting, I know I've sat in on a couple of the meetings over the few years regarding the town square project. Now, look, this is not my ward. This is when we started having conversations about this project. This was in Grimshaw Ward. The Watsonia group of shops was in Grimshaw Ward, and that's Councillor Rick's ward. And then, as in the last election, the boundaries were realigned a little bit. And so now Watsonia Shops is now in Bakewell Ward, which is Councillor Mark's ward. So Councillor Mark and Councillor Rick, along with Hesham and the Traders Association, are mostly in connection with each other, as well as our project manager, Nick, who's very approachable. Nick's all over it. He's been all over, the Weir Street project. So Nick's all over it. He's very easy to connect with. So Mark and Rick have really been the two councillors who've been mostly connected with this and attended all meetings and and received all the emails, etc., and corresponded accordingly. I've come in off the back of the Weir Street project, knowing how that's been going on, and being able to listen in these meetings, just listen to the feedback and the conversation between officers and traders and the councillors, and being able to contribute from an experience point of view and a feedback point of view. So, and I have said this at one of our last council meetings. Obviously, we voted on this project. It was an item. We voted on it, and Jeremy from Watsonia Optical, he was there in the chamber along with Hesham. I did make a point. There is going to be interruption. It's going to be a little bit messy. There's going to be some mud. there's going to be shifting of traffic. There'll be traffic movement, traffic changes, and pedestrian changes. It's a larger version of Weir Street, and a larger version of the Rosanna streetscape upgrade. It is a whole town square, not just a full-on upgrade. And these are the things that you're going to experience. And one of the things that I know that every individual trader is going to receive this. When people come into your shop, they are going to start commenting on not being able to find a park, or how long it took them to get there, or I don't know, walking along the footpath and they had to walk over a big trench, or whatever it is. They're going to be having those conversations. So I really wanted to provide the experience of the Weir Street traders, plus my experience with the Weir Street project, bring it to the conversation about the town square upgrade, so that there's some kind of preparation. There's a bit of mental preparation for what's coming ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, like, the project manager, Nick, who's heading it, is very approachable, and we contact him all the time. Natasha Swan is accessible. Even Jeremy will often get in contact with Alison, the CEO, as well. So we've got really good connections, and obviously Councillor Mark and Councillor Rick, because our board is so close. We've got a really good working relationship with both of them, and that gives us comfort that we can just pick up the phone and speak to anybody about anything. I mean, the day they started to rip up the roundabout, it was a mess. You know what I mean? And there was I contacted Nick that day and just reassured him that yes, he's going to get lots of calls, but they really did put a lot of thought into how to minimise it, and it worked. It really did work, and it worked. It worked well to get that through traffic going one way, and the other way was going around the centre. And yes, certainly there's been customers that have been frustrated and annoyed, but we just talk through it, and I think, as I said, short-term pain for the long-term gain. And we've chosen the quietest time of the year to actually do the works on that major road, Watsonia Road, because that's got the most through traffic. All those side roads are managing okay. That the main road that is a problem for the majority of the community, and that'll be a short period of time where it's really uprooted.
One of the things I'd also like to, you've got obviously collaboration and partnerships with governments, local government, state, federal. Are there any other sort of high value partnerships that traders associations look to do? So, for example, you've got a number of schools in the area. You've got quite a number of daycare centres. We've talked about the RSL. We've talked about the library, etc. What are some of the partnerships that you look to foster to help from a community perspective and to help promote the Traders Association and the businesses as well?
I mean, we certainly do try and get school communities involved in our community events. some of the sporting clubs have also attended, where we may give them if there's the family fun day, the local footy clubs have been involved, scout groups have been involved with us before in different community events. Social media's become important for the local community. So often we're a lot better in that area at helping getting information out to the community that way. But certainly some of those local groups with schools, sporting clubs, scout groups, we've certainly our centre coordinator has done a lot of work to try and involve as many of those. Also, the local tennis club has attended with us on a couple of occasions. So they tend to be people we do reach out to a lot.
Yeah. And if there was there's one thing that you think would really benefit the strip in the near future, what do you think that might be, aside from the town project, which we obviously talked about? What's probably one of the other things that you think that strip could really use?
That's a good question. You've caught me off guard with that one. What does it need? What does it need? Look, at the moment we are just in damage control mode to try and minimise. Obviously, we will try, if there is obviously impact, and we're expecting impact on trade, we'll try and attract those people. But yeah, what it really needs is obviously for the community support. We do have an amazing community that is very supportive, I think, of the strip. We managed to get through COVID, and we're going to manage to get through all of these. But I think it's the appeal. What I would like to is I'd like to appeal to the community to just be patient with us and continue that support for the local traders, because they really are the heart of the heart of the strip. And so we really need the community to really stick to us and keep behind us.
Okay. Well, and look, I think that many people love to get behind their local businesses. Is there something that you think is something that you have on the horizon that would be exciting for people to know about that's upcoming? Free plug for you?
Well, what I think you'll find that we're trying to work around the projects at the moment. So we're in standby mode. So whenever we get an opportunity to do a promotion, we get it out. We get it out there. We do have the Family Fun Day coming up. We're going to continue with our two major events in the year for the strip. So there'll be stuff that'll come out on social media. So they really need to look out. We had some amazing promotions with the Watsonia Bucks, where we literally had a promotion where we were handing out a $10 note. It wasn't actually $10 note, it was $10 Watsonia dollars, and that we did that throughout some of the problem times with Northeast Link, where people could go up and down the street, they'd get them, a couple of coffees or a coffee and a bun, or use it in any of the streets. So they're the sorts of things that we can do, with the support of the Banyule Council. So we could always say one thing that we really do need is, maybe we should say, we need a lot more funding from Banyule Council, but they've been doing very, very well in giving us that support. So we're pretty pleased with that.
Okay.
We call that a special charge scheme. So Banyule Council, I've actually learned Banyule Council is if it's not the only council in Victoria, it's one of the only councils in Victoria, and there are 79 that actually work with their traders associations and provide funding. So the traders associations not only create their own little bucket, Banyule Council supports them as well financially every year, and so then there's a slightly bigger bucket so that the traders can create these fun events like like Watsonia, which is so popular, or like, look, Weir Street recently, the Montmorency Traders Association created the Rockabilly Car Show. And that's also because McLeod Traders Association is headed by the same people. The Rockabilly Car Show went ahead in November the week prior at McLeod. So those events are all possible because Banyule provides this special charge scheme, and we vote on it every year, every couple of years we vote on it. So it's not hand over fist automatically. We do vote on it. We always look at it as part of the budget. And we know that the traders associations are grateful, and we know that they value that to the point where they create something that the local community will participate in and enjoy, and then that brings the people, which then brings business.
The special rate scheme is basically a rate which is put onto the local traders, and that's how we get, that bucket of funding that comes to us, and Banyule helps to facilitate that for us, and it does work very, very well for the local traders.
Excellent.
Yeah, and what's really good too, look, we're with the way our traders associations are working at the moment, our economic development team attends meetings. So the traders associations have meetings once a month, I believe, isn't it, Hesham? You guys sort of have it.
It can be up to, it can be every 2 months. Is more like most trade associations, from my understanding. But sometimes we have to meet monthly, depending on what's going on.
So every meeting. So look, I've had the privilege of being invited to the Montmorency Traders Association meeting on a couple of occasions, and I have been able to attend one of them, and I certainly intend to attend others in the future. And just as a councillor, I just sit and listen. I don't need to be involved in it at all. I can just sit and listen. And one of our officers from the economic development team is there working with the traders in their group, talking about, what projects they've got coming up, what events, what functions, how the Traders Association is functioning, running, are there any issues within the street or the strip, and how to resolve, and how can council assist with whatever's happening or coming up, or anything at all. Normally a councillor would not be involved in those meetings. It is not something that a councillor does, but we're always welcome. We're welcome to come and visit. So for me, I had a great insight into how one of the Traders Association meetings went ahead. And I can say, this is touching on something that was mentioned earlier. There are traders that want to be involved, have the spirit of leadership and the skill of leadership. They bring their skills and knowledge to the table, and use that to keep the association functioning. And then there are other traders that don't. They don't want to be involved. They are happy to leave it to other people, and they just allow things to happen. Or there's the opposite, where they don't want to be involved, but also don't like what's happening.
I think we definitely saw that at Weir Street, didn't we, Alison?
Yeah, so we get there are all sorts across the Traders Association. I mean, it's people working.
Yeah, we're human beings, and
Exactly.
That's right.
Certainly always going to be differences of opinion with everything that is done. But often we find our local councillors will attend, say, our yearly AGM, and they come to support in the AGM. That's the most common time that they would actually attend with us, because that's where you've got the committee and the rest of a lot of the other local traders who'll come and voice, and that gives us a little bit more direction for the for the year. And we also have like a 5-year plan that's presented, a 5-year agreement that's presented to the council, and obviously sometimes we have to change that, but we already know 5 years in advance what our aims are and what we're planning to do.
Same as the budget. We've got plans. They're good plans. They don't always go ahead as planned, but absolutely. It's okay.
Hesham, you mentioned that the Trade Association, or Watsonia Strip, has its own Facebook page. Would you just like to let people know what they should look for?
As in what the Facebook page is?
Please, yes.
Being not a social media man, We'd have to refer that to. You can certainly jump onto watsoniashops.com.au and it'll have those details on there. It also has our centre coordinator's number, so she's the one that handles that. I got to be honest with you, I'm not big on social media, but Watsonia Shops, Watsonia Traders, searching those, I know does bring it up. But you're definitely talking to the wrong person when it comes to social media. I apologise for that.
No, that's okay. We'll research that. We'll make sure that that's in the notes for this podcast, so that if anyone watching would like to know a little bit more, follow Watsonia Traders and see some of the events, they can go to the links in the podcast. One of the things I'd sort of like to just quickly talk about before we finish is, as a marketer, one of the things that we've seen in people's buying behaviours is a shift away in the last 5 to 10 years from the big malls, shopping malls, and a lot more trade going towards the local shopping strips. People are becoming a lot more parochial in their decision making and where they're actually shopping and who they're supporting. And I think a lot of that's got to do with the giving back that the local traders do. And if there was one thing that you could probably look at improving with your marketing, is there anything you'd like to mention here at all with that, just to let people know? So,
I mean, I think that has probably, what you've mentioned has partially to do with what happened over COVID. People did come, that did help, to change people's habits, where, strips are much more convenient, easy parking, you're in and out nice and quickly. A couple of things that I've tried in, as part of our events, it's done really, really well, and this goes off really brilliantly in the street, is we'll have people are used to having the sausage sizzles that, at Bunnings, we have a sausage sizzle at the front of Pharmacy for Less, and people are surprised that we give away free sausages. Now I love to give back to the community. So, whenever we have an event, we try and bring the barbecue out and just say, here you go, have your sausages, and that does, really, really well. So I find the strip gets behind that sort of stuff. We do love to give back. We'll have things like, free face painting, balloon twisting, so stuff that attracts the kids. We've had free cupcakes and drinks before. So, we do love to give back to the community, and that works very, very well for our strip. When we have the family fun days, all of the rides are free. So we've got the train that goes around and whatever other rides and stuff. So it is very, very much a community-based event to just be welcoming to everybody, to not exclude anybody. They don't have to put their hand in there. But obviously, if they're going up and down the street and going into a shop, we obviously would like them to shop as well. But we really do, as a Watsonia Traders Association, love to give back to the community. So very enjoyable part of our events.
And I think the other thing I've seen with the strip too is there's been quite a lot of the shops have actually done refurbishment of their shops, their signage, so you can see they're really buying into that vibrancy.
Absolutely.
So self-promotion as well, which has been great.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it's good.
Okay.
And council also offers, you may have seen a lot of signage around over the last few years, shop local. Essentially green signage. So council supports all our traders associations with shop local, not just some of the signage and the branding, but also the opportunity to use cards. So we actually provide, what looks like a credit card, one of those little plastic cards, sometimes as prizes or awards, something like that, for our community, to be able to use the shop local card in essentially anywhere in Banyule. So that's encouraging our community to stay local.
Okay, excellent. All right, well, I think we're almost out of time, so I'd like to thank both of you for sharing some great perspectives and insights today. It's been a pleasure having you both on the podcast today.
Thank you very much, Carl.
Thanks very much. And thank you, Hesham. Really appreciate you joining us today. I do have some apologies. We did invite other traders to join us. and at last minute they've been unable to participate in this particular podcast, they would still like to contribute their knowledge and their information about their traders associations. So I'd like us to be able to do part 2, like we did with our sporting podcast
Absolutely.
about 18 months ago. I'd love to be able to do part 2, so we can allow them to contribute to this knowledge and the information that is useful for our community. So, but I certainly appreciate, Hesham, you being here. I figured we would be talking about a lot more than just traders associations today. It is a larger strip. I mean, with having the library there as well as the RSL, Watsonia is a larger strip than many of the others, so there is a lot more going on, and so there are a lot more people who do come to the strip. And as you were saying, not just during the day but also night, there are lots of activities during the evening that people come to, and that's what maintains the vibrancy of of the area and of the strip, and keeps people coming back.
I think we might do part 2 leading into Easter, because there's always generally community things happening around all the strips around that time. So that can be a great one to do.
All right.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody who's been watching this episode, listening to this episode of the podcast. Join us next month on the Champion Chat for our next series on communities and local government. Thank you all very much and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.